Blade Barrage and Nova War provide damage decreases.
Right.
I don't know if they're doing that yet.
Well, they will be in the next update.
Sweet.
That's what we'll talk about in a minute, I suppose. Alright, we're off of title pages now anyway, so we can talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Alright.
Alright, yeah. Right.
Whatever we want to talk about.
Dead silence, Pam. Nothing else.
No. I need to understand what is going on with the way these forges work. Because there are too many things that aren't working right for them. Like, you can't get a frame when you need a frame. It's like, it's there, and then one of them disappears, and
Oh no, I figured out the reason why. I figured out why one disappears. Like, you've only allowed 2 of the actual, what do you call it, ballistic logs a week, aren't you?
Something like that, yeah.
So, that's your choice for that character. You're only allowed to choose 2 out of the ballistic logs.
I know.
If you chose 2, the third one just disappears because there's no way of you getting it on that hunter or warlock or Titan.
But for the last 4 months, or not 4 months, for the last 4 weeks, when you just do 1, the second one disappears.
There was an issue with the game. Yeah, there was an issue where the frames would be lost and you couldn't get them back. There was an issue with the system or the code or something like that. There was just something not quite reading it right. So that's why that's happened. I don't think they've been fixed it yet because obviously that would have happened over Christmas, and Bungie have only just come out to work recently. So I think that if that gets fixed, it would be fixed in the next update, which I believe is 2.1.4. Or was the 4 and the 1 the other way around? I can't quite remember.
That's okay. I don't think they've been graded.
But yeah, I mean, I have issues with Black Armory and the Forges anyway, without issues with coding and whatnot.
Well, like the key quest for the is a Magus building, right? So I did it on my one character. I was fortunate enough where I picked up a bounty in a reasonable amount of time, and I was very excited. And then I was like, hey, I can't wait to do this with you guys, and we'll do the steps together. And I can't do it because you can only do it on one character.
Well,
that one's just a complete mistake.
I mean, I have my issues with the Forges is I just don't think it's been executed very well. I think parts of it is very good, and if you're looking at it as a content to drop as an extra, is it worth the money that you pay? Currently, no.
I'm gonna go with no.
I don't think it's worth it for what it is currently. No. Obviously, maybe we have a sing a different tune once we get to past the Drifter and Joker's Wild, and you get past Penumbrum and stuff like that. That might be a completely different story. But to me, the Forges are excellent. The actual gameplay of the Forge is brilliant. But as an expansion, no, it's not brilliant. The fact that they're phasing it 1 week after another, it's not great. In my opinion, I mean, it's like the Forges are good fun, but I'm now we're like 4 or 5 weeks down the line, and after you grind each Forge out massively over a period of time, which is a mistake. In some ways, Bungie's done exactly what everyone wanted to do, because you look at when we had the quest step for Thunderlord, everyone moaned that quest line was really, really short, and that was poorly executed. And in some ways, the Forges have done the same sort of way, but what they've done is they've taken the negative parts of the quest for Thunderlord, put it into this and made it longer, and now everyone's bitching that it's too hard to get.
Well, and while I don't necessarily disagree with anything you said, I will say that we as a lot are pretty fickle, like as far as gameplay. Like, I know that there are things that I want to be a long grind. I don't want everybody in the middle doing this.
Oh no!
But at the same time, there are things that you put your time in, you should get it. And that's the way that this has gone with the Forge in theory.
Yeah, in theory, and I agree with you totally there. I just think I'm thinking more of the size of the content. I think it's more the expansion. I don't think they've gone about it the wrong way of dropping it the way they have dropped it in some sense. The bit I just don't agree with is I just think as an expansion, it's not everything. It's not. I think it's because we're so used to having bigger content drops and bigger things like that with story. I think I'm more of a PvP player. I would have liked a story quest to go with it a bit more. With some sort of. That's probably my takeaway of what I dislike with this. I mean, it's very small compared to what other bits and pieces would be with it, I suppose. But
no, but think about it this way. When they dropped the Forge, and we were stuck on the puzzle, there were people researching French history, history of forges in general, Merlin, King Arthur. I mean, really just digging into the minutiae of everything. And no one was complaining that they had to do that.
no.
The thing is it was just so, quickly hidden behind things that they were just doing it because they didn't know what else to do. If there was lore and a story where you're learning about the Forgers and the family, legitimately learning about them, not just, hey, they exist and this is a thing.
Yeah.
I think that would have been infinitely more engaging. I mean, that's kind of what you're saying, right, Tom?
Yeah, I think if they had some... I mean, there is so much history and so much lore behind the Forges, and, I just think they had a missed opportunity to tell a greater story behind it all. And, especially, you take Niobe Labs, for example, and you know what? I think where Bungie was probably coming from Niobe Labs is a pretty cool idea. It was flipping hard from what everyone saw. It's only just been completed, I think, as of last night or today.
It was today.
Yeah, so you think that's a hell of a lot of time to do that. But I think if there was a bit more story, or even just a bit, even if it was like a shortened down version of Curse of Osiris size story mission type things of just the history to open it up to Niobe Labs, there people had some references other than trying to go through centuries of flipping history of different cultures. They've got 3 cultures.
Yes. Where they went wrong, and stop me if I'm wrong here, where they went wrong with Osiris is they set up the story and said, oh, he's the greatest warlock and he did all these deeds and he did absolutely
And then he wasn't in the entire DLC.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the same with this. The way I see it with the Forges, if you did what some people could have done and waited, got yourself to 650 in the first week, because some people are able to do it.
Oh yeah, some people have the time to do it.
650 in the first week, and then left it for 3 weeks and gone, okay, I'm gonna wait for all the Forges to unlock, might as well do that. And then you play the Forge as it is now, each one, you are getting yourself maybe, as a whole, if you go from the first quest all the way to the end, and you didn't know how to do it from, not from anyone, you didn't watch any YouTube videos, you're looking at a good 14 hours of content.
Yeah, exactly.
As a casual player. Because you'll be playing through it, you'll do your grind, you'll do the Forges. Now the problem I have with it is she has a small story how someone came to the Forge who knew the Forge was there, who shouldn't have known the Forge was there, and stole the pages. That's what reactivating the Forges was. And what upset me there is there was no story to it.
There's just
now,
no...
I know they said that there wasn't. I know they said there wasn't going to be a story.
Said that happened, and then that's it.
But
yeah.
That was it. That's
it opened. The thing is, you have a
the pages.
You have a cutscene that starts to develop into the stories. Even if they had mini cutscenes in between each week for each Forge, there was a new cutscene, just telling us a little bit more history or a bit more behind it all. That's all it would have taken. I mean, the reason I bring up Curse of Osiris is it was such a short story mission that if you had done something along that sort of story mission that size, as well as have the Forges in place telling the story, so when you got to the labs, it gave you some relevant information to how things would work and how it all play out. That would have been a fantastic way of doing it, because you end up...
Well, absolutely.
You get a bit more...
And I think that they could have gone the lore route that they did in Destiny 1. Like, even if they just had it so that it was available. You know, like, it wasn't easily available unless you collected weapons and books and got things. But
I've not
at
picked
the
up
end of
any
the
lore
day,
from Black Armory.
I mean, there is lore.
As of right now, I don't know any lore.
If you look at casual players, right, I mean, yes, there was lore to Black Armory. I'm sure you could find the story about what was going on from that. But the reason but not everyone's going. Yeah, sorry, it's like I'm cutting you off. But not everyone's going to go.
Return to the tower. Oh wait, I'm.
The thing is, though, not everyone. I mean.
more.
Oh no, I want to return to the tower because I've got a thing for Ada. I want a frame, so I kind of want to get the frame.
Well, if we do one more, then I can buy a frame.
Then. Oh right.
Yeah, good Pete.
I could stop that.
Yeah, sorry, Tom. Please go ahead.
Yep.
So, where was I at anyway? Okay, so the lore behind it. Yes, there is lore in here now that will give us information about Black Armory. But unless you're a content creator or someone else like a streamer or someone in there or a lore nerd, a casual player is not going to read the lore. So you're not going to do it unless you go to someone who is a lore content creator and you're going to sit and watch it, which is great. But as a casual player, you're not going to look at it, and that's, I think, where that's failing in some ways. Yes, you can find it and it's a lot more accessible, but it's not. So people aren't going to just find it, and people are not going to understand the story, and people aren't going to understand the forges at all behind it all, or Black Armory. Like, for fuck's sake, Ada 1 is in the tower. How long has she been in the tower for? No one knows this sort of thing. There is no...
According to her, she was there before the city was even established.
Yeah, exactly, but then...
That's what she claims.
How much could she possibly do? I mean, honestly.
Yep. It's like, the way I come from lore, and a load of people gave me shit for this, even with Destiny, is...
What's up, bitches?
What's up, Robert?
Hi, Rob.
The type of lore I come from is, if it's not in the game, then it's not canon. I know that sounds bad, but Destiny did it. Destiny did it to the point of, oh yeah, do you want the lore? Do you want to know more about the game? Yes, I do. Go to this website. And it's like, hang on, why can't you put it in the game?
Exactly.
Like, why can't you have a bestiality? Why can't you have anything? Because that doesn't take up a lot. A lot of games have anything you need to know about games readily available. They have codexes, they have
I couldn't find
lore
it.
tabs. So, come to Black Armory, I know nothing. I know some guy stole a book. That's it. We don't know who this guy is, we don't know where the guys came from, we don't know what his intentions were, we don't know how he knew the Black Armory existed. He stole a book. That is
Fine, I
literally
stole
all
the
I know.
book. It's my fault.
Yeah.
I had a problem. I couldn't help it. I'll put it back.
Yeah, that's literally all I know about Black Armory, Robert. Some guy came in, mobbed a load of pages of the book to create these ancient weapons of evil. Didn't create anything, just, kind of walked away.
Maybe he had a diarrhea problem and he needed some help with a wife with.
Oh my god.
That's what it's genuinely seeming like. Because it's, haha, I've got pages of the Black Armory, I know where the forges are, I know where Valence is. Let's go get the Guardians to activate them all.
So has this gone tits up already? Is that what just happened?
No, I'm so genuinely speaking about it. Because...
I read it.
Because, no, that's what's upsetting me with the lore.
No, I completely agree with you, and this is my issue with it.
People can go, oh, you can grind it out. It's like, grind out what? To get RNG-based lore? That's not lore. That's loot.
No, that's just another thing to keep you playing, is what that is.
Yeah. So I'd rather it have been, instead of complete this storybook, here's all of the lore for you so you could learn more. Like, watch some of the hints for the Forge be in the lore tab. So if you've never got one of the pieces of lore, you're not going to know how to unlock the Niobe labs.
Yeah.
Because I bet that's what they were thinking. We'll put hints in the lore so people can learn it. But
yeah, they definitely did not do that.
No, they definitely did not.
I read the lore on chance that I missed something.
And you know what? The community would have read it all.
I loved the lore. I loved it. It was like the story of Oryx and his sisters. I mean,
oh, that is fantastic. That is fantastic lore. That I can sit and listen to it like an audiobook.
This is what leads in. This is what leads into what Tom was saying. Another thing which people have pointed out, which some games do have, is audio lore books. So if you look at a piece of lore,
Mass Effect Prime though for this.
Like, yeah, if you look at a piece of lore and it goes like, give me a person, Zol, Will of the Thousands. It's like, I can't read this. I don't want to spend 10 minutes reading it.
Or being able,
play.
Or even have the capability.
It reads you the story.
Well, even if you had the capability, like if you had the lore come in like that as like an audio form like they did in Mass Effect. I know different franchises. One was obviously BioWare, and the other one is obviously Destiny.
But that's not a trademarked thing. It's
no.
Like a publicly ready
no,
use thing.
but what he's using those as examples. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that one.
But it's like if you look at what BioWare did with the original Mass Effect trilogy, and you had the lore. If you know with that lore, that backstory there, it was maybe like hundreds of years before or something like that, telling you about the history of characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, it starts off on I think it's like 2050 something, for when we first discovered proper space travel.
Yeah,
that was because we made it to
Made the first
ship
contact
from an alien race and put it all into our stuff.
Exactly. But that thing is though, you could, if you didn't want to read that whole manuscript of everything, I say manuscript because it was freaking long, I didn't want to read it. It was an audio, you had the option.
That was like a book.
Yeah, you had the option to listen to it, and if you had like the option, I guarantee more people in this community would listen to an audio version of the lore if they had that opportunity to.
Yep. I totally
and
agree.
Honestly, the ideal way to do that would be when you're in the game and you've already heard everything that Asher has to say, why not just learn more about the game?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
You're learning about the history.
I often find myself listening to music, but if I could use that time to immerse myself more in the experience, I think that would make the game as a whole better.
Even if you took the Ghost's voice, I know a lot of people don't like it, if you took the Ghost's voice and had his actor read out every single piece of lore, yeah, it'll cost a bit of money, but you could have it, and then as a lore tab, just like, tell me a story. It's like, okay, here is the story of Sol of the Thousands. It starts off back here. How he came to be is this. So instead of you having to read all of lore, your ghost tells it you why you're just playing about, why you're grinding out the game.
I mean, your ghost talks to you throughout of it anyway. Yeah. Why not talk to you? It could be a feature of the game. You know that would be brilliant. And you know, Destiny 2 they released the whole Alexa, so you could talk to Alexa and on your ghost if you had that capability. I mean, you could literally probably if you had an Alexa at home, you could probably say, Alexa, tell me the lore of, I don't know, Rasputin or something, and it could probably talk to you about it. Are we all in chat still?
Yeah.
Oh, just went quiet.
We're still here.
So yeah, I mean, I think
they introduced a ghost Alexa.
Yeah, you go on Amazon, there is a ghost.
Not what you think.
It's not.
No, is it just an Alexa with a ghost voice now?
No, you've got a ghost.
Literally a Alexa that has a shape of a ghost.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a cool novelty, but I don't really see anyone except for die-hard fans of a Destiny YouTuber only.
Yeah, but I'm using. You got the example where if you wanted to, you could quite easily use that capability to talk to it and do it if you didn't want to log into something, sort of thing.
We're just messing about before,
Yeah, we're just getting the stuff squared away first, and at the same time we're
talking about
waxing romantic about Destiny. What we'd like to see from it, what we missed initially, what we would change. We're talking about fanboy stuff.
Alright. Hey, when you guys get a chance, I need to still do Nightfall, and I need to unlock the Volga Forge one more time. I don't know if you guys have a chance to do that.
Yeah,
mean unlock it?
any
I don't
one
understand.
of us can. Oh, we need to go through it again. Wait,
Uh,
no.
I need
Why
to
do you
go
have?
through it
Wait, no.
again.
Wait,
Yeah, I'm
no. You've
missing
already
something.
been through the Volunteer Forge once. Don't you
Yeah, I
mean
need
go
to do that
fighting?
one again. I'll get a weapon and a bunch of
Oh,
other
a
stuff.
weapon frame.
If I
Got
do
you.
it another time.
I was like, I get you now, because you don't play as a secondary character.
Right.
Yeah, but speaking of which, going back to like the DLC and everything, me and Robert are brand new players to this.
Mm.
Like me, less so because I started November-ish, October-ish. But looking at it from, I've now sunk in. Let me see. I grabbed Destiny when it was free, and then with the annual pass, Forsaken, and the DLC before they gave it away with Forsaken, I've already ran myself near enough £100 just on this game. Like from the 2 DLCs and the expansion passes. And everyone else has ran themselves 150 quid. Now, I get what they mean. I get what they're doing with the whole annual season pass, but £30 or more, depending where you are, is not worth it for what we've just seen here. Because yeah, the forges are cool, but for a whole non-story, what you can get done in a few hours,
It doesn't add
it's
much more than what you already had to do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, it's gave everyone the ability to get to 650. So unless you really like the guns, you do not need this DLC.
And if someone was to turn around to me and say,
What's upsetting about it?
should I buy it for Black Armory? I'd be like, no, not worth it.
Definitely not.
Forsaken, yes.
If you don't have Forsaken, yes. I have absolutely enjoyed Forsaken. The story is a little light, but the experience and the changes in gameplay, the addition of subclasses, the new types of weapons, the bows. I love the bows.
I think
I mean, the Forsaken was just
Forsaken was done well.
Forsaken for £30, I'd say it's worth it.
Yeah. Forsaken was done very, very well. And I can kind of see what Bungie has done here, but then this kind of leads on to the sort of a topic which we'll probably talk about shortly, which would be the whole Activision thing. I think with the whole Bungie side of things, it's not just Bungie. You're thinking that so far, up until this week, it's Bungie and Activision. So a lot of whatever Bungie wants to do has to go through Activision to say, oi, this is what we want. And then Activision gets signing off on it. So as much as as things go, I think there's blame to put on both of them for this. And going forward, I think it could be a lot better, because before Forsaken and even before Warmind, but it was too late to do anything for Warmind.
Yes.
It was obviously the community summit, and the community summit is where everyone, like content creators and diehard fans and stuff like that, would come to play the game and do all these other bits and pieces, and not play the game, but they give their thoughts and their opinions on things, to say, what do you want to see in a game? What is it you want us to do for you? And you know what? That was so beneficial for Bungie, because that's what gave birth to Forsaken in a way. Obviously, yes, Bungie had the idea already there, but having that sit down with the community to say, what is it you want to see, is what gave birth to the overall concept of Forsaken, and even probably the annual passes as well. But going off that side of things, it's like, I think they need to keep doing that. I think they still need to keep maybe doing an annual thing of going, right, we're going to have another community summit now, and bring in more people, or more characters, and sit around the table for a couple of days and give opinions and thoughts of how they can better improve the game. Because Forsaken, let's put it this way, is probably has brought Destiny back to its glory in some respects, and it's made it a good game to play.
Yes.
Right, I'm just jumping out the fire team. I need to get some arcane dust. However, if you guys are doing Volundar again, because now Pete's got his frame, Robert, if you want to jump on them and do the forge with them, I will more than let you do that, because they can help you through it. I can find other people, because it's only a forge.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that would be super.
Yeah, just jump onto myself or Pete.
Onto them, I don't mind.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was I about to say now? that was it. Jumping off of what you said, Bungie now has a good way forward.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is it is a double-edged sword.
It is.
Everyone's been giving Bungie the best benefit of the doubt because of Activision. Now, for all we know, yes, they were the publisher,
but
from an outside perspective, it could have been maybe Bungie was messing up and Activision was implementing it wrong. But everyone kept shifting the blame on Activision.
Problem
So what happened when Bungie said we're leaving? Everyone congratulated them and ripped into Activision. Now Bungie can take that one or two ways. It can be, okay, now we have to follow this and we have to make it good. Because if they mess up, it'll be, okay, so it wasn't Activision's fault why you're bad. You're just bad.
No one knows the circumstances behind the split. No one's really knowing. All we know is that there's a split. As far as we're aware, it's a friendly split. So people are happy.
But everyone, if you looked through Twitter, everyone jumped to Activision.
Yeah, everyone's jumped.
Finally glad Bungie's rid of you. Bungie, congratulations on the breakup.
We're not really certain who has creative control.
That's what I mean.
I don't know anyone at the companies, so there's a very good chance that this could go the wrong way.
It could go the wrong way. It could be the best thing since sliced bread, for all we know. But on the same bat, you don't know how it's going to go because until it's tested and put in a theory.
Yeah, until Bungie shows we're good without Activision. We will show you that we're here because of this. Like, if they do that and show that they can stand on their own 2 feet, and it was down to, I guess, creative differences between the two companies, then yeah, they may get some forgiveness. But if they pump out more content, kind of in a sense of, oh, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, that's not how a game company should be. I mean, look at Cyberpunk. I think it's. Oh, what is it? 3027 or something? I can't fully see.
Yeah, whichever one.
The Cyberpunk one. The first thing they said is, we're not doing any shady deals. What you see is what you get. There's going to be deals. There's going to be DLC, sure. There's no microtransactions. We're not going to hide anything away. So when you get into that game, it's not going to be loot box galore. They said straight up, we're not implementing loot boxes. And it's like, wow, a company that's saying straight up, we don't want to put gambling in our game. Because that's a major thing there. I mean, even with Test Eververse, people can go, oh, it's just cosmetic. That's still gambling because it's random cosmetic.
Yeah, anything you can pay money for and there's no guaranteed outcome is gambling. And that is really a slippery slope when it comes to these things because kids don't understand that. And there was this whole legislature that went on. There was this guy from Hawaii who was, trying to get this banned because he said there are children who don't understand how this works, who are now building an addiction for the rest of their lives. They're just this will be the one that gives me the thing.
It's like you can type in on YouTube right now and put little kid Fortnite V-Bucks, the Fortnite game currency, I guess you could call it, and you'll see so many. Like, obviously they might be a bit staged, but some of them are genuine rants. My son stole my credit card because of this game, and it's like, and then people go, oh, that's a hoax. It's like, no, I've had to cancel my card and talk to my bank because he ran £1,000 getting a skin that a YouTuber has said, if you buy this skin, because they've put a donation thing in that now, for whatever YouTuber, you can donate to them in the game. So if you buy a skin, a part of the money goes to them. So every single YouTuber is obviously going to go, say my name, put it in that tab, and that way I get money too. And they're obviously going to want to support their best YouTuber, which shows little kids taking money which isn't theirs. And it's getting bad. Like, a lot of loot box situations getting bad, and I want to see it gone. What game was it now that actually started that ban?
It was.
I think it might have actually been Battlefront, but there was another one recently. Because it was into games. There's a new ESRB for it.
Yeah, it was
gambling. Like, this game contains.
It was down to EA. It was one of EA's flipping things, where they put a lot of it into Battlefield 2, and it has that whole contradiction with Battlefield. But going with what you were saying, though, Ben, is like, I know people have the right to be pissed at Activision in a way, because when they had their annual quarterly meeting back end of last year, one of their main topics was Forsaken was good, brilliant, but they were disappointed because of the revenue that it brought in, so they wanted to bring more microtransactions into the game. And when that happened, the community went up in uproar, and Bungie turned around and said, no, we don't want to put microtransactions back into the game, because when Destiny 2 first came out, there was microtransactions galore in this game, and people didn't respond well to it. So now, you know, this is why a lot of people probably do have the upper say and say, right, okay, you know, they have been burnt by Activision in some sense. I'm not saying that, you know, time will tell if this is a good thing or a bad thing, if they split or they don't split. You know, that's the thing. So, you know, time will tell, and I'm hoping it's for the better, and they'll have more creative control over how the game will develop over time. And you know, that's the main thing, I think, at the end of the day. As long as they keep communication, to, you know, start listening to what the community have to say, which obviously comes under communication, but listen to what they have to say about what we want in the game is a self, because I think that's a very important thing, because if they can listen to what we've got to say about it, it can make the game brilliant as a sense of the thing.
I have to piggyback on that, to just take it all the way back to Destiny 1, is the reason I wanted the new one was because of what Bungie had put forth with Halo. The world that they built, the lore they had, the characters, the whole experience of the game was the reason why I bought Destiny and said, this is the thing that I want to do, because I trust these guys with my gaming experience. And over the course of Destiny 1, with the various expansions, and they built that whole universe in a way that seemed organic. Like when people were like, we really like our rape gear and make it relevant again, they came up with a way to do that. And I want to believe that with this new separation, that they're going to have the creative control that made me want to trust them with my gaming experience, and take that to the point where they genuinely are listening.
Exactly.
Not just doing updates saying this is what we're planning on doing, but like going through the posts and saying, you know, people are upset about this, people want to see more of this, we want to learn the history of this. Like, that's the kind of thing that made me want to do this.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Before we move on, Rob, I've given you control, mate, so you can take us to where you need to go to do the Forge, man. So you take us to where you need to go.
You guys ready?
Yeah, man.
Piggybacking off of Pete for that one, real quick. That's why I didn't buy Destiny 1. Like, I was part of the beta, like when it came out, and I was thinking, okay, it's going to be like an open world kind of Halo thing. And then because it was just a beta, I started noticing, okay, it's an RPG. Can I go to this area? No, I'm completely blocked off. That area blocked off. This area blocked off, and it started getting like that constantly, and that made me scared for how it was going as a direction. Because it was just, okay, so this is here and that's there, and I can't enter any of it. But as a solo player, which I was back in the day, I would never be able to enter that content because it goes, oh yeah, you need 2 to 3 people. And I had the anxiety like no tomorrow, so that's what kept me away from Destiny 1. And obviously I've grew up a bit, opened a bit more with Destiny 2, and from how everyone speaks of Destiny 1, it sounds like an extremely amazing game, and I'm upset that I missed it.
When I say
going through it all, it was beneficial for. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Well, the thing is they made it so you could have a good solo experience. Like, you could just sit down, grind out some strikes. They were fun. You could learn from them. There was nightfalls that you could solo if you learned how it worked, and you didn't have to play with people. It was just different if you did. I mean, if you wanted to raid, obviously you had to kind of open up your horizons, but to really get the Destiny experience, you could enjoy it by yourself. Destiny 2, I find it incredibly tedious and very difficult to do by myself. And it's infinitely more fun, but I feel like you're being forced to play nice, and then they have game modes that encourage you to not play nice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off what you're saying as well, though.
Yep. It's like if you want to be with PvE, you've got to be the kindest person ever. If you're playing PvE, not so much.
And to piggy
The
off
bad
back,
side of
sorry.
that is,
Mm.
if you want, I'll finish this sentence. The bad side of that is, it encourages people who are pure PvP players to just jump in and ruin everyone else's time. Because they've got no like shared balanced game mode like they had in Halo. It was either you go straight in against everyone, and that's it. It didn't matter if it was someone who was extremely good at competitive, someone who was way above your skill level, you were being sorted with them. And that's what
That
keeps
was a
a lot
very
of people
long
away.
sentence, Ben.
But that's what keeps people away from the PvP. Anyway.
But what I was going to say is, I was going to piggyback off what Pete was saying. It's like Destiny 1, I jumped in, not late, I probably, like, Destiny 1 released in the September time. I probably jumped in around about August, October maybe, something like that. I can't quite remember. Not August, because it went out about October time. And I didn't quite understand what it was. I kind of jumped into it because of the old... There's a lot of hype around it at the moment. I had no idea what Destiny was. I'd seen things on it because it was at E3 and whatnot and stuff like that. I thought, this is interesting enough for me to warrant me kind of jumping in. And at that time, I was very much like you, Ben. I didn't really want to chat to people. I was very kind of timid and very shy when it came around to talking to people I didn't know or whatnot. So that part of the game didn't appeal to me. And what you were saying, Pete, about Destiny 1 being very much you could do it as a solo player and getting quite a lot from it. And that's what I loved about Destiny 1. And if you needed to obviously do raids and stuff like that, then also you needed to have the teams and stuff like that, which was very good. You had a good balance between solo and group activities, and obviously that's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun to play in a group, but not everyone's comfortable doing that. I find Destiny 2, like Pete said, is very hard to play as a solo player. It's not
just literally be one of our clanmates who really remains. He is very uncomfortable with talking to other people.
Exactly.
He still can't get the full gaming experience without a fire team. So it's prohibitive to him.
Exactly.
This is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the reasons why I jumped in and I'm more open with talking to people is because I started doing content creation for Destiny, and I started doing a lot more for it. I've banked in more hours in Destiny 2 than I did in the full life cycle of Destiny 1 because I was so adamant that I didn't want to play with other people because I wasn't comfortable. But yeah, I still had the full story. I still managed to do the Nightfalls, the strikes and whatnot. The only thing I didn't do in Destiny 1 was the raids because I wasn't comfortable enough to talk to people. But yeah, I didn't feel like I missed out as much because the raids weren't, as much as it was a continuation of a story, it wasn't key to know it, to basically progress further in the game, and I quite like that. Yes, it continued the story a little bit, but it wasn't key to know what was going on. So with Destiny 2, it's kind of, yes, they do say it's better to play as a group and they brought guided games in, but they haven't really done anything with guided games in the last year and a half since they've released it in vanilla D2. But the sense of that is it's very tied to group activities, Destiny 2, and as a solo player, going all the way from vanilla through Curse of Osiris, Warmind, even up to Proof Forsaken and Black Armory, it is a very group activity. Like you said, there are people out there who aren't comfortable speaking in a group, so I think it's not always necessarily a good thing as well as anything. Yes, you can matchmake in certain activities and you don't have to talk to people, but then your experience is probably going to be a little bit not tinted, but a little bit shaded, I think maybe it might be the right word, a little bit, because you're not having the communication skills. If you really want to succeed or do something right or get things, gelling perfectly, you need to be able to communicate. And communication is a massive part of this game.
And my biggest issue with it is they lock the best gear for the best experience with the best perks behind the wall. I mean, you want enhanced anything, either you're grinding Dreaming City for the rest of your life, or you gotta do the raid. And it's like saying, if you don't do the raid, you're missing out. And I'm like, raid. I don't have 6 hours of my day to dedicate to this all the time. I don't have the ability to, I mean, especially without the ability to pause. I mean, Tom, you know, life happens. It's
Oh yeah.
not always convenient.
As you guys know, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and I work 40 hours a week. So for me to try and build a time in to do a 6-hour raid, it's just not there for me. And that's what makes it really hard to play this game for someone. And I'm not saying that you need to, you know, lose the skill level of the raids. And, you know, I think if you are skilled enough to do the raids and complete it, yes, you deserve the right to have that good gear, because you've shown you've got the skill level for it. But being able to share maybe some other gear that is able for people who aren't able to do that because they just don't have the capability to do it, either via time or lack of confidence with people. I think there needs to be other ways for people to get powerful gear in some ways. Yes, we have milestones to get powerful gear, but it's nothing special about it.
The milestones have made it better, but there's not enough in them to make you really feel like you're getting the best of the gear out. Especially when you're getting annihilated by 1,000 voices. If you're really big into PvP and you don't have a microphone and you want to play it, what happens is you end up playing PvP and getting killed by these weapons that you just can't get because you don't have either the time or the social capability, or I mean, honestly, there are some people who can't even afford PlayStation Plus and are getting the absolute minimum of Destiny experience.
They won't get Destiny.
Just won't get it.
No, they won't be allowed Destiny. Destiny's a fully online game. You have to be online to play Destiny.
Back in D1, you didn't have to. If you wanted to do Crucible, then yes, you needed it. But if you wanted just to play the base game and the normal activities, then you didn't need PlayStation Plus. But Destiny 2 is full on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah. I mean, there are, I'm not 100%, but I believe that there are things that you can do without having PlayStation Plus but still being online, but I think they're very limited.
Yeah, it is very, very limited.
And that, in fact, so piggyback off of that is why, and this is going back a bit, do you remember the game Metal Gear Solid Survive?
I know of it, I haven't played it.
Right, exactly. It was a zombie survival game which came after Metal Gear Solid 5. And here's the two major problems. The first one...
No, we didn't do it.
No, we were, I think, too short.
Oof. Okay.
So.
The first one with that, and I'll bring it into Destiny, you'll see why. The first one with that is that it was fully online. So if you weren't online, you weren't getting that game, which is upsetting. The second one was, because it was fully online, and this can go for Destiny 2 as well, these servers will eventually shut down. You're playing for a limited time game. As soon as this is done, as soon as the servers go by, you no longer have access to this game.
No.
Yes, but as long as the revenue is coming in,
the servers will be there. But the thing with that is...
That's what I mean. It's a finite game because they force it online. Like, I can go back to a PS1 game and still play it because it doesn't have dedicated servers.
Yeah, but also you're not online with it though. That's a solo game.
If you give this game 20 years and I go, I want to play Destiny, I mean, I kind of want to jump back into it, see how it is. These servers are no longer online. I can no longer play this game. This game's time limited.
Yeah, but for a very long time it's not. I mean, Destiny 1 servers are still up. You know, anyone can jump back into Destiny 1 at any time and play Destiny 1 through the whole campaign, like the whole story.
Yeah,
you know,
there are people on my friends list who still routinely send me inbox for Destiny 1 raids because it was just part of the routine. Like, I remember when we would do this and we would be like, oh, Tuesdays we're going to do this, Wednesdays we're going to do this, Thursdays we're going to do this, and it was like a pleasant routine. Now it almost feels like a chore. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I can kind of see where you're coming from.
I mean, the reason why people, when Destiny 2 came out, people wanted dedicated servers, and I can see why they want it, because obviously it'll help with the lag issues and stuff like that. But as soon as you start going into dedicated servers, you have a problem. You have to pay you will end up having to pay a subscription fee, because that's what's going to maintain and look after their dedicated servers. So the way that they do it, being like LAN or net or whatever it is, the way that they do it works because it's not dedicated, so you don't have to pay a subscription fee. But as soon as you start going like dedicated servers, that's when things will start having issues. In some ways, I mean, people, you know, you'd end up paying a subscription, you'd be like paying like WoW or something like that.
Well, unfortunately, and my wife, who works in currently works in software implementation for a leasing company that does commercial real estate. Now, I will bring this back around, I promise. The real money of today is in subscriptions. It's in that recurring charge.
Yes.
Yep.
Everyone just kind of, oh, it's only $3 a month. I'm not going to get it. Yada yada. Well, Destiny is trying to get that same money by rolling out content
over time.
That they're getting that money, or get that bread. I mean, you know, I'm hip. But that's the corporate blueprint right now. And everything else has come by the wayside of that. They want that subscription money. How can we drag this out? How can we make sure that we have all the options for getting that money?
Exactly. I mean, I think it will eventually go that way, and it's going to be blatantly obvious that's how it's going to go at some point. And but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they're doing what they can by doing, obviously, the annual passes, which I believe are still a very good idea. I just think the way the content is, I think it needs to be re-looked at. Like we said earlier, I don't want to go back into the same conversation we've already had, but it's just... yeah, it's a tricky one when it comes around to all this. There's so many vast improvements we could have with this game.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's one thing that I don't want to just turn this into like a whinge fest or like.
Oh no.
I don't necessarily think that the things that are issues, and there are, I don't think they're big enough issues to stop playing right now.
No, they're not.
I'm still having a good laugh with my friends, and you know, we're doing the older raids because Izzy and I.
That's the thing though, I mean, not to go back into a tangent about something completely different, but in some respects that could be because we're enjoying the game because we're playing it as a clan or a group of people constantly, and that's what makes you want to come back a lot more. If you play it if you were to play this constantly as a solo player, I don't know if I would still be playing.
Right.
As much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be logging on daily, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I've been logging on daily ever since Destiny 2 came out. Well, maybe not daily, but I have been logging on a very large amount of time since Destiny 2.
Enough where it's more than a coincidence that you're out.
It's like, how can I put it? This game's extremely good. Like, I know we've been saying some negatives, time to get into the positives.
Yeah, we need to get more on the positive side.
It's extremely polished for a game. Like, there are some bugs, but it's one of the games that bring out weekly updates. I mean, if you look at some other games, like, I don't know, I guess you could say Grand Theft Auto for one. Because that's a massive open world game in just a massive area, there's bound to be bugs everywhere, and you can't get everything.
No, you can't.
But with Destiny, yeah, and it's still really polished, and that's been Game of the Year for ages. I have just got contacts in Destiny servers, lovely, and that's had Game of the Year. That's had, oh yeah, I still play it 5 years down the line. And it's the same with Bungie. People still come back to Destiny because they really like it. Now, what I would like, obviously it'll take a lot more man hours, and I don't want to force that on them, is if they rolled out some new content for free every now and again. Like, here's a new, because of Forsaken. But
the thing is, they are doing that. They are doing that.
Strike. Like,
Yeah.
Here's a new strike, or here's a new like little open area. Here's something, just little tidbits. Like, they don't even have to be much. Like a new mission.
They are doing that. That they are doing. There is a reasonable amount of creative content that you don't have to pay the subscription, not prescription, fee for. Like there isn't enough meat that they are putting out where they can absolutely say, yeah, you're a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they are doing a lot. We need to get them last 2 orbs, otherwise it's going to be gone.
Oh, come on.
Anyway, continuing. Like, that's what I would like from them.
Oh
that's
my
what I'd
God.
like from them.
Did you get it?
No, missed it.
19 out of 20.
Oh my God, you have got to be kidding me.
Have you just failed that?
I missed it. Blew out. It bounced off the freaking edge of the wall.
Anyway, let's continue. I'm not a game company, so I can't obviously say I want this, that, and the other, because that sounds like I'm pandering. It's like, I want this, I want that, I want that. If you don't give me that, I will leave. And it's like, no, because that's not how you keep a game company on your good side.
No, it's not.
What I would like, well, what they are doing, and what I really like, is the weekly updates. Like this week in Bungie, we've sorted out these bugs, we've sorted out them bugs. Now, with every fix, as anyone from any type of coding knows, with any type of fix, immediately comes more bugs, and people will exploit. Now,
Exactly.
The unfortunate thing there, Bungie can't get everything. They can't get everything in one go, at all. So when they get something, and someone discovers something new, they don't look at, oh yeah, Bungie fixed this. They go, oh yeah, Bungie messed that up. Which is upsetting.
Yeah, and it
It's
is.
really upsetting at times. Like, I like the game. I'm having a lot of fun. I've barely put it down. And I just think, I don't know how I can explain it without it sounding weird.
Nah, go for it, man. But
Story and
I think we need to probably wrap up in a little bit and go over as you're saying though, about talking about this week at Bungie as well. We need to probably say, look, they are now back from Christmas leave, and like you were saying, Bungie does work terrifically hard to make sure they get the updates out and they do keep the community involved, and that hasn't necessarily always been the case, but that is something they have improved on in the last few years with all this, and they are talking more and communicating better, which is brilliant, because that means we are always knowing what's going on. And like you said, they're human, they're not going to get every single thing right the first time round, but do you know what, they are doing everything brilliantly.
Defeat enemies with only black armory weapons equipped. I've been doing that with the shotgun, the machine gun. Oh, don't tell me that it has to be one of the forged ones.
It has to be the forged weapon.
Oh, I hate you, Bungie.
Yeah.
I take back everything you just said.
But like you're saying, it's like, well, I think they're doing very well, and they've got the support. You look at Battle.net have turned around at the back end of the Activision saying they're obviously parting way and having this split. Battle.net came back and went, the service isn't going to go anywhere, and that's good credibility. That's very good news to hear, that other developers that are working with Bungie aren't going to allow the split between Activision and Bungie to get in the way of things. So service will stay as should be, which is brilliant. So on a whole, it seems like it's a very good split. I think it's probably been worked on for quite some time. And I think it's all going to go positive. It's the beginning of the year, got a lot to come in this year. You've got 2 more expansions that we know of. I wouldn't put it past them to potentially have another Forsaken size one, because I think they hinted at it in something recently. They say they are going to start working on bigger expansions again. even if it's like an annual thing, like an annual, every year they make a big one with like an annual pass to go along with it, then that's not a bad thing.
No, here's to kind of expand on that is they know what it's like when things go wrong. They've been on the receiving end of this puzzle is too hard, it's not fun, they're tired of it. So I think that this is going to be a positive change. I think this is going to open up the communication in a way that will benefit us, that will make the game better, and understandably so, make it so there's more content available to more kinds of players.
And more often as well.
The hardcore community can't rule all of the gameplay. It's just, it's too prohibitive.
See, the thing with that, continuing that, now like you just said hardcore community, a lot of people with big followings, look at Twitch, look at YouTube, the ones who create videos and everything, or Bungie, have been some of the people going mad at them. Like, oh, Bungie, why haven't you done this? It's like, hang on a moment, you can't go mad at the company that is literally helping you expand yourself. I mean, look at Twitch. When that new Forge dropped, on average, there's about 9,000 people watching.
9 to 15,000 is on average throughout the day. But then when
it jumped to 56,000 when I looked.
When I went on and when I was chatting with you guys, there was 75,000 viewers just watching Destiny alone and supporting.
Yeah.
And going off of what you was, I mean, I got one last negative thing to say about this whole thing. This is my last one, I swear. Is Niobe Labs. I think the way that it was executed, like we said earlier, I'm not going to go back into what we were saying fully on that, but I think Niobe Labs was probably executed wrong. I think the fact that they just went, right, we're just going to unlock the Forge. Yes, that's good, but also I think that's very bad considering the amount of time, amount of effort people had put into this, and they just went, alright, we're just going to, right, enough's enough now, we're going to just tell you what it is. Great that they're going to do that, but on the other hand, I think what they should have done is they should have just leaked a few more clues. I think that gone off the clues, and if they still couldn't have done it, then just hint more and more at it. Don't just kind of give it away after the amount of time that people have put into it. I mean, that was what I was more pissed about, and that's what I tweeted about. I was like, hang on, you can't just do it like that. You know, people have sat like, it was not one of the best thing I've seen though. On that is no, I don't think many other games have a community like Destiny does, because the amount of people, like you said, were watching Twitch at the time, trying to help out the hardcore players to solve the labs was unbelievable. And you know, you can't ask for much more than that.
No, and the disappointing thing about that is, they said the hints were there. What they should have done is said, hit fine. Because you're struggling, here's a couple of hints to help you out. And then they could have made it really worthwhile. They could have just said, here's a couple of hints to help you, Guardians. We hope you find the way.
They are. They actually are going to do that. But the reason that people were so upset is not because it's too hard, it's because it was locking out
everyone else, and that's the bit I think, yeah, that was bad. That's one of the things I was like, you can't lock out the content. Make Niobe Labs a completely different thing. Make, I don't know, an extension of it, but whatever you lock there helps you get a rare frame or something like that allows you to unlock doing via any forge, or you have to maybe do all 4 forges to unlock some sort of secret weapon or something. You know, it could have been dealt differently. I just think locking the last and final forge behind it was not a good play.
No.
Jumping off that straight away, that's what I was about to expand on. The Monarch, that got accidentally added to the loot pool. Now, accidentally on purpose, I'm not too sure.
Oh. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, like that's what people have said. I'm okay with it, and you've got people going, "Oh yeah, well, it's not like it was going to be good anyway," because it's like, well, we wanted a quest line. They could have immediately gave out that same quest line and just created a new weapon. They could have created a sister weapon to the Monarch and gone, "Okay, now that you found the Monarch, I don't know, Ada 1 has something to request off you. Like, how did you get that weapon? That weapon's supposed to be lost. But now that you've got it, give it here, and she goes, I can point you to a new way, and gave you the normal quest. People would have loved that. It's like, hang on, oh wait, so there is a quest line. So I found that one, because that would have helped them out. And then going back to, like you said, with Niobe Labs, that locked out content, they should have had that as its own entity to find the guy who's been causing problems with the Forge. That wouldn't give you anything, it would have been story-based, buffer. Because people would have figured it out eventually and gone, okay, so here's how we get into the Forge. Well, not the Forge, here's how we get and find the last bit of, I guess you could call the Black Armory store. Like, people would have jumped all over that and gone, that's great. Yeah, it took them forever, but that would have been more fun than, oh yeah, you can't enter the Forge without, finishing this.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Oh shit, I was getting hammered all left, right, and centre there. But no, I agree. I think it was handled wrong. I think Niobe Labs is a fantastic idea. I think it works in some ways, but I just think it was just handled poorly.
What the hell? Okay, this is really starting to bother me now. One minute.
But like I was saying, I think that's
Why is it still on... 1 minute, I need to learn something here. That Black Armory devotee, I've been killing a lot of enemies with Black Armory weapons. I'm on 0%.
Ooh, I just calibrated a frame, so now do I have to do something here to do something with it?
probably back to Ada.
It would have dropped.
Oh,
Yeah, Black Armory devotee is still not working, 11th of December. Oh god, don't tell me I've got a broken quest.
But, I think, that's enough about, the forges and, where things are with Activision and stuff like that. I think, there's a lot of good positive changes coming. Obviously, the new Sandbox update comes out, I think it's the 18th, I think so, next reset, I think it is, which is 2.1.4, which is seeing Blade Barrage and Nova Warp get a bit of a nerve, but also in the same respect...
You did 5 quests by doing that one.
Nice. But in the same respect, all the other subclasses.
Out of this thing?
Yeah, it takes back to the. I think you might have to go back to see Ada.
Right.
But all the other subclasses are getting a bit of a.
Just forged famed weapons only. I might have to use the bow for this, because from what they're saying, it has to be kinetic. It has to be a kinetic forged weapon. So it sounds like the Black Armory
use the blast
devotee.
furnace. Use the blast furnace.
I'm going to grab the pair of them because I'm using the belligerent ringing nail hammerhead, not 1%.
No, the Balligant doesn't count. You can't use that. That's not a forged weapon.
No, but the ringing nail is. I've been using that. Nothing.
Yeah, but you need to use one in each slot. Is the point of that. We'll cover this after we wrap up this other thing.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You know what? Now that I've switched to belligerent, let's see if that actually starts progressing. Because there is one in each slot.
Right. So we'll wrap this up with just going over this week at Bungie sort of thing, which was basically cheers Pete, which was basically updating
There we go.
us on the new Sandbox, which would have been obviously the subclass getting tuned and tuned down, which is about freaking time when it comes to that Nova Warp in PvP.
Through a wall.
Yeah, but look what it said. It's only had a small.
Yes, but it's been small increase. But what they've done is they've also then increased all the other subclasses that weren't pulling right off that.
It's going to be fun to play as a striker again. It's going to be like I run Earthshaker, but my super is built compared to everything else. So they're making it so
they equal out.
Actually, extend the duration.
Yeah. So as much as they're not making much of a dent to it, I think this is the way that. So, Destiny 1, there was a massive thing where they were like, well, hang on, you're nerving us to the ground. And, the whole way through Destiny 2, they haven't nerved anything to the ground. If anything, they've tweaked it a bit where they've lowered it a little bit, but then brought everything else up a bit as well, so that they're almost all on par. Yeah. And I think that's what they've done there. So they haven't completely nerfed the hell out of it so that it's useless. They've basically just tweaked it so everything else has been brought up, and that's been brought down a little bit to meet them. So in a whole, Striker Titan's going to be better, Arcstrider and the Hunter's going to be better, all these other subclasses. Golden Gun.
Golden Gun's got a buff.
Exactly. These are very good things coming into the game for the Sandbox changes, for feeling powerful again, and brilliant. You know, you've come back from Christmas holiday, you've dropped a bombshell with Activision, you've literally come back and go, we've got more content on the way that we want to share with you in the near future, and then you also turn around and say, here you go, here's our sandbox updates. Bang. You know, there's some really good things to come from this as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out the back end of, well, on the back end, but
wait a minute.
come through on this.
Oh wow, I just realised what my blast furnace is. I have an outlaw rampage drop mag blast furnace. Yeah. That is an incredibly quick reload, Jesus.
So,
Yes.
you guys got anything else you guys want to talk about whilst we're on this one before we wrap up fully?
Yes. Yeah, Blade Barrage got a debuff, and honestly speaking, I don't get why.
Well, here's the thing. It got a debuff, but it's in a mechanical sense. The damage from the Blade Barrage initially was on the knife strikes itself. Now it's supposed to be when knives detonate, that is when it's going to cause damage. Also, it's going to stop tracking allies. That was a big thing that was a problem. Like when you were launching and you were in a tight fire team because you were sitting in the well, it would track your allies just as well as it would other guys. And they've also added, you know how Nova Warp, if you Nova Warp right against the wall, you basically Nova Warp yourself. Well, they've added that mechanic to Blade Barrage, so you have to be more careful with it, and it makes it a little more friendly in PvP, because you can't just spam it and wipe out 20 guys if they're right in front of you. You have to be careful and diligent. And I think it adds more skill to it.
Now with Nova Warp, I hope they've done this, because this was getting really annoying. It has an AoE. Great AoE, sure. What I didn't like is when I'm halfway behind a completely different area and it takes me out so I don't even see the Nova Warp. So my kill cam is showing a body behind a wall. Now I hope they've done something about that, because that would happen every time. Like if you're standing on one side of a wall and a Nova Warp's on the other, all he has to do is let that thing go and it will get you as a surrounding bubble. So it goes through the physics and still hits you. Now I knew a lot of Nova Warp warlocks in PvP, on Crucible, in competitive, who would purposely stand near a wall, blow that thing up, and take you. It's like, oh yeah, they're all hiding behind there, I'm just going to use my super and kill them all.
I mean, this is more of something that we're writing about. We're kind of talking about the changes that have been implemented that are going to be
that's what I mean. I hope that change has been implemented.
And it will be. They have made changes. They have made the changes to Nova Warp.
The geometry instead of through it.
Yeah, they have changed elements of that.
That's something. Speaking of which, just to go a bit more, because I've just gone down on it. Golden Gun's 6-shooter, if you get a kill... The Practice Makes Perfect super has an increased regen. That's kind of cool.
Yep.
But 6-shooter, if you kill something while using 6-shooter...
Puts a round back. Yep, you get a round back.
Yeah.
So Golden Gun is going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah, that I would actually start using.
Exactly, so yeah, there is some...
The Golden Gun change brings increased uptime for the super, so it can last longer. So you don't have to immediately just shoot everything. That's kind of nice. And for the way the sharpshooter is the ability to super you more quickly. Okay, so the way the sharpshooter lets you get into your super quickly. Not bad.
Exactly.
The Night Stalker entire damage bonus is applied on the first hit instead of stacking and multiplying.
Can I ask you a real quick question, Ben? Did you not?
Yeah, sure. No, I have been reading it. I'm just like pointing it out as well.
I just wanted to see how long it took them to click that this is what we've been talking about for the last couple of minutes.
No.
It just you're like,
well,
oh, I didn't know that.
We've been talking about it. I just didn't read the Hunter one.
Yeah, I mean every subclass.
Titans, because Titans.
We did say a Striker and Nova Warp and Blade Barrage, but that's beside the point. I mean, it's...
I was going into the other subclass for the Hunters.
Yeah, I mean, the Hunters are going to be good. You know, you've got like you said, the Golden Guns getting there.
To talk about this week in Bungie, I'd like to point out some of the footnotes, because...
Yeah, go for it.
It's not going to be, oh yeah, the Striker's doing great because the list off. It's like, wait a minute, what?
No, we've got to talk about all elements. You know, you can't not talk about all elements. No, I agree.
Alright, dudes, I gotta bail for a little while. I shall be on later. We're gonna go watch 100.
Okay.
No worries, man.
Seen that?
No, sir.
I heard that's good, so we're gonna go check it out.
It's-
It's on Netflix.
Alright.
100.
Without making it sounding stupid, I give it a 50-50. It has its good points, but it has its ridiculousness.
Stone doesn't
100?
everything now.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
I'll let
good.
You guys know what I think.
No worries, man.
Yeah.
Catch you in a bit.
Thanks for helping me do that forge. I appreciate it.
No problem, Robert.
You guys are
Like-
bomb diggity dogs.
Here to help. That's our
All
plan.
right,
Motto.
we'll see you on later if you're there.
See you later, man.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, later.
Now, one thing which I am going to like a bit, going back to this week at Bungie, is the Spectral Blades. Now, I love using them every now and again. And just reading that they've got a better damage resistance while you're invisible is alright, because I know a lot of people who turn invisible and think, oh yeah, I'm now invisible, you can't see me, and will charge at you. They won't try attacking, they'll just charge at you, and it kind of, ends up with them dead.
Mm.
So
Alright,
having
what's
that little
the,
bit of, that's my dog trying to get onto his bed
No,
while
I
being
was
lazy.
gonna say, I was made the fire team leader, Tom.
Yeah, we can do whatever you want, man.
The good thing
Okay.
is Tom can edit out bits like this when he puts it on YouTube. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
that's
yeah, that's rambling. There goes that.
Nah, I'll leave a lot of it in, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, what else is in there other than?
There's something fun. Like I'm reading the Hunter ones. These are the only bit I haven't read. The Archstrider Hunter has to do combos if they want more damage. So do you know how he has like the R1 and then R2 to make it a combo?
Mm.
If you want that heavy damage, you will have to start using combos with it, which is alright. I mean, be kind of funny when they mess up.
No, it's good though. That I think. On the side note, I need to go do one of them. Wait around and collect something. If you want to do that,
Sure.
go get one of them stupid stupid crates.
Wait around and collect oh, you mean the
Keepers.
one of the forge guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. Any
Oh.
preference?
Nah, just whichever one.
That's kind of stupid. Have we touched up on competitive yet? I'm sorry, I kind of zoned out a bit earlier.
No, go on. What's going on with Oh, yes, competitive. That is a good point to bring up, Tom.
Yeah, competitive has now had changes to it.
Mm.
I'm just reading it now.
Yeah, I'll let you guys go on that because I think competitive is too prohibitive for players like me. So I will let you guys who.
Well, maybe we'll go into a deeper discussion about competitive next week in the next show that we do then.
Yeah, sounds good.
But yeah, we'll talk about it on this week's in Bungies and what they're doing, the changes to it anyway. So yeah, you carry on, Ben.
Yeah, so let me see. The World System team's been gathering feedback and using it with a conjunction of player data to make the changes of how we match opponents in the competitive playlist. Because I know a lot of clans who who watch the matchmaking process of we've got 4. And if it jumps to 5 or 6, well, if it jumps straight to 6, they will purposely leave. They will immediately leave that matchmaking until they find a load of randoms, because obviously that makes it easier. So according to this, they'll be changing the matchmaking parameters so that you find opponents who are way closer to your glory rank. So no more will you be fighting someone who's already reached legend. While the imbalance can happen, we believe this change will reduce the number of occurrences dramatically. Players may experience longer matchmaking times to ensure this, but I'm sure a lot of people will actually be, happier about that. I do not mind waiting an extra 20 seconds if it means I'm not going to be paired up with a legend.
Mm.
And then they are saying if anyone has more feedback, they definitely want it to keep going. As someone who did complain to Bungie, because I found it kind of annoying, because with last season I was one match away from getting a Luminous Howl, so I'd have one good match and then it would purposely put me in with people who had a way higher skill level than mine.
Yeah.
Like they were a good 400 to 500 points higher in terms of their competitive win streaks.
Mm.
So there was no chance of me winning, because you can check it on I can't remember the site. but it checks your, like, I guess, combat advantage against your enemy team. And it would always go from me having a little bit of an advantage, say about 50 to 60 points, to the enemy having a good 600, 700 point lead. So there was zero chance of me beating them because they were full-on PvP players, which is upsetting. But now that they know that they're actually going to start, sorting that out, that's good.
It seems like they're moderating competitive a little bit more. They're going to keep an eye on that a little bit closer and make it a little bit fairer for non-competitive players who have to do certain tasks within competitive, make it a little bit more enjoyable for everyone, realistically.
Yeah, because honestly, as somebody who is gently easing into Crucible because it is so punishingly difficult and a completely different game mode, the idea of competitive, I have not played one competitive match for fear of just being crushed so badly that it makes me never want to play it. Like, that is the God's honest truth. And if they can make it so that
what happened,
it's accessible, that's great.
Exactly.
I watched a couple of I guess you could call them Bungie, competitive Bungie players, and some of the babble they came out with was hilarious to me. Because it goes, I'm a pretty average player when it comes to competitive, and here's how I got the Luna's Howl. 1, time your matchmaking. If anything goes to 2 or 3, 3 or 4, immediately leave. Wait until it goes up 1 by 1.
Yeah, but
strategy.
Yeah, good strategy, but you don't want to be doing that all the time. Otherwise, you're wasting more time doing it. You shouldn't have to be doing that.
And but that's the thing. They'd end up coming out with the most random babble after. It's like, yeah, I'm a casual player. I only went on a 14 win streak, so anyone can do it. It's like, hang on, how are you calling yourself casual if you went on a 14 win streak? Like, you're not a casual.
No.
Like 2 to 3 matches, yeah, that's casual. But people who say that one and then do something like that, it's like, you're a lot better than most people who play competitive. So with this buff, I guess you could call it a buff, saying we're going to match you with people of your skill, of your glory rank. So if you're just starting out, like literally at bare bottom bones, you're going to get people who are at the bottom with you.
Oh, exactly.
Which will be great. So it means that the people who play that game religiously will not be able to take advantage of people who don't.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's going to be something that it's going to be good going forward. Is a bit more unique fairness within Crucible, which would be nice to see.
Yeah. Now, what they could do there, I mean, obviously team playing is allowed. What they could do there is create a, how can you say it? They could create a small bar, like a small, like, I don't know how to put it into words properly. Oh wait, no, there we go. A small menu for competitive. So when you go into it, you choose the menu and it says, I'm in team. Like, I've got a team of 4, I'm in a clan. So it'll put you against people who are in a clan. Or if you're with 2, it'll put you with everyone else who's playing as a 2.
Well,
and then if you go solo, it'll put you in just 8 solo.
Stop people from just lying about it. I mean, unfortunately, people are assholes.
Not like that. It auto sorts you into it. No, it auto sorts you into that. I mean, so go on your glory rank. So if you're brave, it'll sort you into glory rank. But if you've got a team of 4 of people who are all legend and you're just brave, then it'll sort you with a team of 4. So you're not going to go, haha, I'm going to get carried through thanks to my unbeatable team. It'll force you into a team of 4. So you'll be playing against people who also have communication.
Yeah, no.
Unlike now, where it's, oh cool, I've just started competitive, and that's an entire team dedicated to playing competitive.
I mean, with that as well, I think with this update, I mean, it's going to look at our skill-based, so look at individual people's skill-based, and it's going to take your glory rank, it's going to take all these other bits and pieces, and it's going to work a little bit better. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be perfect, but it's going to be a hell of a lot better than what it is. It's probably going to entice people to actually play competitive mode a little bit more, so you're not going to feel like you said you do, feeling a little bit kind of not wanting to do overwhelmed. So I think it's steps in the right direction. It probably needs more doing to it, but until we start getting our hands on it, it's a little bit hard to say what else we can really be doing with it. But yeah, that's kind of my thought. I think it's a good first step. going forward for competitive. I mean, I've been doing it because I want to get the Luna's Hour Not Forgotten, and I'm enjoying playing it, but it is a hell of a grind. And if you get paired with a team, like you get paired against a full clan and you're a solo player, it is incredibly hard to play against them. And that's my only negative about it.
Well, that's the upsetting thing. That this is going to help stop a load of well, I guess you could call it buying your way in. Because if you go on the Destiny app, or if you even go on Twitch, all you see is PayPal me $80, PayPal me $50, and people do. I watched a Twitch stream of it. It was horrible. Oh yeah, Triple X Sniper 428. Thank you for the $50. I will now help you. And it's like, Jesus, you've made him pay for an in-game item just because he wants that. No, not made. That was a poor choice of words. He's now paid you for an in-game item because he wants it so much, and it's that hard for him to get.
All right, this is a slippery slope because there are people who predicate their entire job on doing things for people that no one else wants to do. And you have people that mine in Warcraft, you have people that do Bitcoin.
Yeah, I know that
amount of commerce that comes from that. This is no different. This is just someone who says, I can do this thing for you, pay me to do it. And is it fair? No, I don't think it is.
No, that's dependent. The thing is, with that one, this will help curb that a little bit, because yeah, they'll still pay for the item, which will be great, but it will then also make them like think, okay, if I'm helping this guy out, I do need to step up my game, or there will be more factors into it. Because like it says, it'll pair you with people closer to your rank. So if a legend's helping you out, he will have to earn his money, because he'll be paired with legends. He won't be able to just get you in a game or take your character, you know, with him and go, okay, I'm going to just matchmake for 5 hours and make my money.
Do you know how this system works?
The way it's saying it works is when you go in and say you're Brave 1 or Mythic 1, you'll be paired with people in that range. Now, it won't be perfect because it's just being tested.
No, I'm talking about the retrieving of the items. I want to make sure that I'm...
Oh, no, I know how that system works. I was actually a Platinum Hunter for a little while.
Right, we can go and do whatever you want now.
I did it for a little bit, but yeah, I know how Platinum Hunters work. That there's a guy who's based his job on it. If you look up the most, what's his... Can't remember his name, but he has beaten 1,500 games Platinum on PS4. He is the owner of the world's best account, I guess you could call it. And he's a Platinum Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah, so he gets people... people pay him to get those items. Now, what I'm saying is there, which is what annoys me, is with all these Twitch streamers doing that one, it kind of hurts other people trying to get it. Do you get me?
Well, here's where I'm going with this. In order for them to get these items for you, you need to give them access to your account. They play in your account.
Oh no, they play with
you.
No, they play with you on the Twitch streams, so they get more followers to, you know, show how good they are. So they take you with them. So these amazing players, they don't enter your account for the Twitch streams. They go with you. So now with this coming in of, yeah, I can get you through the game, and they'll spend half an hour just trying to matchmake you into a game they know they'll win. Now they're going to be paired with people of their skill. So if they want to, you know, get your money off you and go, oh yeah, I can get you there. Like some of them, and this is what upset me watching it, go, the only way I'm getting you that item is if you're already Heroic 2 or Heroic 3. I'm getting you that item, you're paying me $50 to get you the item at the very last, like, 4 matches. So they're not helping you from the beginning, they're helping you at the very end. They're helping you at like 98% of the game, which is upsetting to see, because they are that desperate for the item. Obviously they'll turn to that, which I can understand. But at that same time, these people get to dictate how they get the items. Like, I'm only helping you if you've got a positive kill death. If you're bad at the game and you're paying for me to help you, I will decline that and say no, go away. So they're selecting who they want to help, which
it's not a good thing.
Obviously they can do, but it makes people who aren't good at the game, like, me, I'm terrible when it comes down to competitive. I'm okay. It makes people like that go, okay, I'll pay this Twitch stream to help me. Here's my $50, help me out. Or here's my £50, help me out. Oh, you've got a KD of 0.89, I'm not helping you.
The thing is that also there is a saying, unfortunately, within this community or in this game, and it's not probably just this game. It's gonna be like COD and whatever it is, and it's a bit of a shitty one, but in some respects it is also very true. It's also that you're just going to have to say, you know, gotta get good at it, and by getting good at something, and I mean, as shitty as it sounds on an outsider's perspective of it all, but getting good will mean basically anything between just playing it. The more you play something, the more you're going to be better at it.
Yeah, and now with this new system coming in of you'll be matched with players around your skill,
it's going to make it easier.
People will be able to get better.
Yes, because it won't be so prohibitive. The reason that I'm not better at Crucible is because I feel like I'm locked out from being able to get better at it.
Yeah, well, look what happened in that match. What we went in, me, you, and Havin. It was, oh yeah, we'll just play one normal casual match. Not forgotten. Not forgotten. Luna's Howl. Not forgotten. So okay, so we're playing with people who can get to the end of competitive and get the end game done in a casual match, because it doesn't, you know. So oh yeah, it's casual. We'll pair you with anyone, and then we got demolished. It was just, well, what's the point of playing? I'm not having fun here.
Is that you're not having fun?
To die.
If you're not having fun, you're not going to do something.
Exactly.
I'm spawning to die. That's what was happening to us, Tom. We were spawning, and within the 2 seconds of spawning, they'd already be running at us, ready to kill us. Like, we almost won, but we were still like 15 points behind, 16 points behind, because as soon as we got any part of a lead, all of them would just immediately start pulling out way better weapons. It's like, oh yeah, I can use a hand cannon that gets the... I wonder why people want the Luna's Howl so much, Pete. If you get two headshots, yeah, that's it. If you get 2 headshots, it loads a round, which the third headshot's an instant kill.
Great.
And the Not Forgotten has that exact same ability, but way more increased range.
That's so stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, and people are paying for those items because they want them that bad to get better at a game. But it's like this is what I mean by I didn't like it, because that's just a virtual item. That's not going to make them better at the game.
No,
they're paying for an in-game item that, you know, isn't real.
Tom, do you need this chest?
Might not even help them.
Oh yeah. Oh, I might have had that one.
Oh yeah.
I've already on the next one.
Put on like the blast furnace. I'm on 41% of this mission now.
But I suppose kind of on that note as well, with anything else on the Crucible side of things? Or anything else in this week at Bungie other than Crucible?
Yeah, Gambit. Hurry up and give me the fucking hazard of the cast. You're taking the piss.
Oh lord.
Yeah, I meant in this week at Bungie. Alright, so...
This week at Bungie, update and give me the hazard of the cast.
Alright. Okay, so we're going to leave the stream there for this lovely debate that we've had for probably about an hour and a bit now.
Yeah.
So at the back,
you can obviously chop that up a bit, make it a bit nicer for the for YouTube.
I could do, but the whole idea of it is to keep it as well as, you know, off the beat as it
you
is.
mean like a podcast?
Yeah, basically that's how I do it. It's a podcast. So keep it like that.
I mean, I've actually watched quite a few podcasts like that, and
wait, you what?
not like this for this week at Bungie. I watch comic ones, and the amount of times they get off subject. The guy went, and this is what made me really laugh. The guy went, I tried getting back onto subject. Like I had an interview where we talked about the Incredible Hulk, how he went through, and I made sure we roughly stayed on topic, and everyone hated it.
Oh, you just could be.
They love the random babble, the like more organic. Let's have a laugh while talking about the subjects.
It should be as fluid as possible, really. I think that's the key thing for it. But anyway, before we start going massively off topic, we'll try and end this sort of string of 2 Brits and a Twit. We'll try and figure out who the Twit is. It might be very hard at this point in time. But on that note, I have been Twitch Gaming. You're also with Covert Stubbs as well, and Excess Energy. We'll be back hopefully at some point next week. Check out either my Twitter or Covert Subs' Twitter to keep an eye out on when we're going to do it next. But anyway, guys, I want to say thanks. You can watch on Twitch live, or you can also go onto YouTube and watch there after we've finished being live. Alright, so until then, catch you all next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.